Our first game for this show is going to be Katamari Damacy, which was nominated by @LadyLovesComics on Twitter. This game was developed and published by Namco, and its first release date was March 18th, 2004 in Japan for the PlayStation 2. So, I don't know, kind of obscure. Do you think anybody really knows about Katamari Damacy?
Katamari Damacy. You probably all know that. The thing of it is, we live in an odd, I'm pretty sure, parallel universe where there's no way this game should be as well known as it is, but it's like the quirkiest thing that somehow became a massive hit. I don't know how that happened. This is back in 2004. I almost want to say that, like, not get ahead of myself, I want to say that Katamari is like the last truly original video game ever made. I know it's a bold statement, but, well, you know.
It's also a wrong statement, but
I know.
So I guess we'll just quickly describe it just for the one hillbilly in his hillbilly shack somewhere who doesn't know what Katamari Damacy is. It's basically you play as a prince of what? Space? All cosmos. You are the prince, which means your father, the king of all cosmos, got roaring drunk the night before and knocked all the stars out of the sky. And now he's solicited you to go down on Earth for some reason and roll up stuff with a sticky ball and then bring it back, and he will turn the big stuff balls into stars. And it doesn't really make any sense, but the point of this game is to roll the sticky ball through like environments, collect stuff, and grow the ball bigger. And as your ball gets bigger, you can pick up bigger stuff, and then, you know.
And you say bigger balls again.
I was trying to stay quiet through that one. I'm sorry, but can we just acknowledge how rude it is to be shoving your ball in other people's faces?
Yeah, all over their food.
Very considerate.
Right?
Right.
Super rude.
It is.
And that really is a part of the game. It has a huge amount of charm. That's like one of the biggest elements of the Katamari Damacy line, especially the first few, where it was kind of just very refreshing. And I think that was part of what made this game suddenly popular. Super easy to play, super stylish, and super fun. And game was a bit stuffy, you know, like 2004 was sort of, it was a bit serious. The indie games were kind of busy dying off because the cost of production was too high, and Steam hadn't really been invented to sell games yet.
Indie games, by that you mean like B tier, C tier. Well, I mean non-licensed shovelware type games that were still good. You know,
more or less. But before, like, the new wave of indies, that Cave Story that came out the same year sort of opened the door for.
I don't even think there's any comparison to that and what came before. I think this is just like, it's a continuation of like the PlayStation era madness, where it's like, it's really
probably
cheap to make games.
Sorry. It's probably worth mentioning that the director on this is someone kind of outside the game industry. Keita Takahashi was just like, as far as I know, was like an artist, and like got pulled into, and as far as I know, he never like made a game before this. So
I think he was at some Namco design school or something. There was some element, or as a competition. I'm not 100% sure on the history of that. It was something that I was reading, that he had worked together with some Namco related thing, and they ended up giving a small team to him and his Katamari idea to get this one done. It's a small team too. This was not like a huge budget game. This was a lot closer to a modern-ish indie title. Like a dozen people or something kind of deal.
It also launched for an indie game price for the day. At least in the US, it marketed for $20, if I remember correctly.
I think that was like the perfect way of getting this out there.
That's a value. Holy crap.
It's really, yeah.
For a game that has had, for me, almost like more than 100 hours of play, I feel that's a steal. It's almost, wow, jeez.
Pretty impressive, because it's not a long game.
No,
it's addicting though.
It is. Anyway, like the rolling stuff up thing. So the fun of it, I think, that everybody kind of latched onto right away, especially the stages where you just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you start out on like a 1 millimeter scale or something like that. maybe not that small. And then you know, in the last stage, you can roll the ball all the way big enough to like be grabbing clouds out of the sky and giant cargo vessels and things.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And the basic way the game works is that you're given a set size that you need to get your ball up to by the time. You have a timer. By the time it runs out, you have to have your ball this big, and you gotta roll over everything that you can to. I mean, you'll see the diameter in the upper left. It tells you how it's building up, and it's like you start out. You can only grab small things. If what you're trying to roll into is larger than your ball, then it's a no-go. It'll just slam off. But then it's like you get revenge on it after you find other smaller things to build up. Like 20 centimeters later, you can totally steal that crab. It becomes infused into your gigantic bolus of living and non-living things that become a star eventually. While this game is morbid, I think you kill animals and people to recreate the stars.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
The graphics are really kind of charmingly simplistic. There's only so many assets they use in this game. For instance, like each of the stages is supposed to be like a different part of the Earth, but everything is basically Japan, because all the stuff like all the little things you roll up. There's like you're rolling up like onigiri, you know, rice balls in Spain. I don't know, whatever. And, you know, everything is, you know, like the little like Japanese erasers and things. Everything is super Japanese.
No one really questions it either, because it came out of Japan, so no one's like, oh, that's weird. No, it's just like, whatever.
Well, exactly.
Because no other country does that with their media.
Right. And the other cool thing is, like, every time you roll something up, it pops up in the little corner, and
I think that's really important.
It is.
Yeah, there is a collection gallery where if you can somehow find every single thing in the game, it's there for you to record. I don't know if there's a reward for getting absolutely everything other than the satisfaction.
Does it give you a little bit of flavor text of describing the item? I can't remember.
It does, yes. Now, I remember that there was like a Twitter account that just posted some of the sillier descriptions, as I remember.
I do want to say, I mean, we haven't, did we actually clarify that the ball is a Katamari? We keep using the word ball instead of just saying
sticky
Katamari.
Ball. It's called the sticky ball. Katamari is Japanese for sticky ball.
Yes, okay, that's fair enough.
I made that up. It's not true.
Then what's a damashi?
It is a thing, though. It does mean something. Sorry, I read this and forgot it. I should have written it down, but Katamari is like...
Yeah. Sorry, according to Wikipedia, it says it is literally clump soul. I don't know if that's correct.
Clump souls. So this had the market on the Souls name 5 years before Demon's Souls was made. Interesting.
The sequel's got a lot
Demon's
darker.
Souls begins here.
I will do that, but
some of the other great things about this game, music is awesome.
The soundtrack is immortal. Yeah.
The art design is really, really good. The character design for such as they are, like the king and all that stuff. The rainbow, the rainbow he spews out of his mouth to like drop you off and pick you up, is really cool. Rainbow Bridge or something like that.
Heck, like even beyond the music, the sound design, just like the little like noises that you hear when people pick up, like little clicks and stuff, like people screaming, the king's like record scratch noise voice.
Yeah,
all that's so good.
Oh, it's so cool. Like everything about this game is just like delightful. That is the word, I think, is just delightful on every level. And like the interesting thing is, like, although the gameplay, like what it asks of the player is very, very simple, like towards the end it does get pretty challenging.
Damn cow bear stage.
I was about to bring up the cow and bear missions. Oh my lord.
Ugh, those are the worst.
Oh yeah, there's those special missions where it's like roll up like, you know, like a 6 meter diameter ball of salmon, and you have to, like, you know, go find.
Yeah, it makes Pisces, I think.
Yeah, it makes constellations that way. Yeah,
I mean, it's important because, I mean, you can clearly see that they looked at it and went, all right, well, maybe we can't just do roll everything up and that's it. Like they went, all right, well, let's have some extra like things to do just to mix it up, and that's important when your game is pretty basic to think about that sort of thing.
what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to think of how to describe like how the challenge kind of comes about. But one of the challenges is like if your sticky ball gets awkwardly shaped because you like rolled over like an oblong object or something, it's just going to stick out. So like let's say like you run over like chopsticks or something and you run them over in the wrong way, and so they're just kind of sticking out. So every time your ball like revolves over to that thing, it suddenly like has to go over it, and it slows down, and it really makes it hard to move for a little while. And the game does strike a good balance between making that happen just enough to be challenging, but it's not usually
really
not
fun because
aggravating.
it's also just acknowledging that the shape is no longer round. It's like,
right,
cool, it actually does that, and that's
but
nice.
Once it's stuck, it's not like you roll it, like it's not like you're pounding it into place as you continue rolling it. It's always in that position, whatever position it got stuck in. That's the way it is. Like I said, it's a cool part of the challenge because you know, you never know what it like. You know, like just because you can roll up a taxi cab doesn't mean you should at that point. Like maybe you know,
but you will. I mean, you will.
You will eventually, but.
Well, no, you just won't resist. You're like, oh, I think I can roll that up.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
You'll do it. You won't stop, and that's the great part about this. I think that before you get to the negative, what I think is really cool is that it's kind of like this gratifyingly physical gameplay in a way that usually only like fighting games or shoot 'em ups sort of have. You know, like visceralness. You know, usually visceralness is reserved for violence because it's like, oh yeah, you can totally feel the hits, whereas this is like you can totally feel the sticky rolling ball, and that's really cool that you can feel the ball in this.
I don't know if I want to feel a sticky rolling ball.
It's like you had something bad to say, and I'm interested to see what is bad about this game.
It's not like a super huge negative. I'm just saying that I do feel like, you know, it controls using the dual analog sticks on the PS2 controller, and it for the most part it works really well. But it is kind of like they're like forklift controls, you know.
Yeah, it's tank controls. Like, you move your left tread,
right? So,
you move your right tread. I mean, I think it translates fairly conceptually well because, you know, the idea is that the prince is smacking it with his left hand and his right hand, and that's how he's turning it. So you hold up, he's smacking it up with one hand. You know, it makes sense to me.
And you can if you do them both in opposite directions, doesn't it turn a little bit faster?
Yeah, because he's doing like the quick turn. You can leap over the Katamari, right? Or because I've mostly only played beautiful Katamari.
You click the stick buttons down and he jumps over, right?
Yeah, so that's like your speedrun technique. You can flip and
then you can wiggle him back and forth really fast, and then he does he revs it up, and that's really important.
Then he flies across the thing. That's cool.
That's really important.
That one's the hardest one to sort of do because you do have to kind of alternate them, and it has to sort of pick up on that, which is a little.
It gets a little clumsy at times, and also I would say like there are. At least when you're starting out. But I felt like I was doing this even when I was at the end of the game. I recall like getting into weird corners and stuff where it's really hard to, like, even if you flip, you know, do the jump over, flip onto the opposite side where it's like...
Yeah, if you get trapped in a corner really or somewhere that, yeah, you can get bounced around a bit. But the game is not really like a strict, like hardcore timing sort of game. It's not like, oh, you lose in the last level, so it's game over for you then. No, it's just play the level
get to try again.
I mean, like we said, that Takahashi's an artist, so you know, he wanted to create something that was just, you know, impressive and innovative, not necessarily hard-edged, and like pretty much everything else he's made afterward has, for better or worse, not reached the success levels of Katamari, but...
Oh, that's the nature of art.
Why that is, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't want to call him a one-hit wonder, but...
I don't think he was trying to be an any-hit wonder. He's just like, you know what would be cool? This Katamari idea, and that was the whole thing.
I want to talk a little bit, because I haven't played most of the other Katamari games, and so aside from control issues, which I think we just touched on, like, how does this game succeed, and why do some of its successors seem to be not so well regarded, or how do they, because they don't change the formula that much. Is that the problem, or?
They change the formula just enough for it to be a problem. You know, you guys kind of mentioned that, the cow bear stage, and, you know, the stages that they introduce are kind of going to inherently be not better, really. They're always kind of like, oh yeah, it's a different take than Katamari, but I like normal Katamari, so I'm just kind of getting annoyed that you've got some difficult one. I personally prefer We Love Katamari, but I'm from Australia, and which is technically part of Europe according to video games. So we didn't get the original Katamari Damacy. They looked at the game and they said, "Whoa, this game's too weird for Europeans. Europeans are perfectly sane, normal people that don't play weird games." So they didn't release it in Europe or Australia. So we only got We Love Katamari because I think a major publisher, I don't think Namco published, I think EA published We Love Katamari in Europe because EA were like, "You're stupid, release this, it's gonna make money," and it probably did. And that one has more stuff, and I think it is better than Katamari Damacy because they get, like, the new things that they add are mostly good. But the subsequent games, they suffer from the lead leaving because he's not there anymore, I don't think, for almost any of the other games other than the first one.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain he's only for that one, and like if he's on the other ones, it's just for an advisor role. I'm looking at his credits page, and it does not list any Katamari Damacy game beyond We Love Katamari.
Oh, we know what happens to a video game series where its original creator leaves, and the company still owns the property, right? We get Metal Gear Survive, that's what. Oh,
is that not out yet? Maybe that'll be fantastic, and Konami will prove us all wrong for
okay, well, that's
yes, because Konami does good decisions on its own, of course, yes,
But we're talking about Namco, which is the other Japanese company that makes incredibly bad decisions sometimes. The 360 Katamari was infamous for including a achievement that you could only get by buying the DLC, so that's kind of the symptom of what happened to these games. I'm waiting for them to release a better one, because they could, you could make a denser game now with, like...
Can you make the game, like, let's say you could have just more crap, Katamari, more crap for the... like, would that make the gameplay any better? Like, if you improve the graphics.
Like, I think that's what I mean. Like, that's a valid line of inquiry. I don't think
it does. I think it's just like it's the same. It's like, in fact, it might even make the game worse and more distracting because you want everything to be very simple and short.
It really is kind of like Katamari is the perfect PlayStation 2 game for what it does. The engine, the graphics, the sound, it all works perfectly. Anything else you try and do to it and add more guff, it's like, oh yeah, cool. It's got extra random crap stuck to the Katamari, but it doesn't change the game. It just kind of makes it roll funny.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's one of those games that probably should just like come out once for every platform, Everything that has 2 analog sticks should get a Katamari Damacy, and then that's it. And they don't change anything. It's just like, now you can play it on this, and it's like it's got new erasers to roll up, and and that's all they need to do. It's like if you want to scratch that itch, you got it. I guess I can see why nobody would want
Well, they basically released a compilation game on the PlayStation 3. That was Katamari Forever. But for some reason they went, well, let's cover the stages in terrible graphic filters, and that's what people want, is really ugly graphic filters. So, you're still better off with the PlayStation 2 game.
Any other thoughts before we rank this?
I don't know if we really covered it, but just like the thing that I always remember of a Katamari is just like the first the first time they like really increase the scale, because like the first ones you basically kind of stay at the same scale. But once you just like first time you get to go from like basically like ant-sized thing going around the ground to like being able to like start taking up like animals, start taking over people, things. It's just impressive, and it kind of loads really seamlessly. Like I think one of the final stages like lets you start from near the small scale and work up to the biggest, and you can just like continuously go up until you're going all over the world, and it's just a really cool effect to see in practice. Like it's definitely like if you've never played this game, you should play it or watch it.
Yeah. In that final stage, you got to do that, I think, like 18, 20 minutes or something like that. It's like, it's not a lot of time. It's really cool. Like, and that's a game design, not problem, but like challenge that they definitely overcame, which is like, how do you make that smooth transition from like rolling up blueberries to rolling up, baseball diamonds and things like that? It's like they actually made it work, and to do it in like a set amount of time, it's like you've got to put just the right kind of size things out there and make the ball scale up at just the right level, so that you're kind of unlocking new areas of the stage with bigger stuff to roll up as you go along.
It always feels supernatural, like that's the thing I think that maybe works so well about this game. You can plonk someone in front of it and they just stop playing. It's like, oh yeah, I get it.
So I guess we should rank this.
I'd put it above Toe Jam and Earl. Yeah, I'm starting high. I really like this game.
No, this one, I would want this one to end up high also. How high, though, is the question.
Kind of comparable to Earthbound, actually.
It's I haven't brought this up in a while, but although the King of All Cosmos is not really a Dogs Bower-esque character, he holds his own in the pantheon of great game characters. Like, I do think very, very highly of him. I feel like him and dogs would get along. I feel like that's a positive thing.
I feel like maybe the bender he went on was with dogs, and that's why everything went so wrong.
Yeah, destroyed all the stars and stuff.
Like, they ran up a huge bar tab, and that leads to the universe being destroyed, and also Dogs has a bar tab he has to pay off in Blue Stinger. It goes two ways. It's connected.
It's like, oh my god, Dogs, we knocked all the stars out of the sky. It's like, don't worry about it. We'll just take a bath, and then we're going to get some sticky balls, and we're just going to roll it all up. You'll see.
And then during the King's hangover, that meteor crashed down the Yucatan and Blue Stinger. Yeah. He could have stopped it otherwise, but,
You probably do roll up Dinosaur Island at some point.
Yeah, so, I mean, you guys, I said around Toe Jam and Earl as a starting point, just because it's got a similar quirkiness to it that, captures that energy that I love in games. It's just like, this is such a great game in like that way.
Yeah, Toe Jam and Earl right now is like currently I think number 13 out of
14 from what I'm looking at.
Well, 14,
it is 13. You got to be careful because the number 1 belongs to the title bar.
Right.
Yeah, the title bar is currently our best ranked game. Sorry, Super Mario 64.
Title for platform, which was discussed in episode.
Well, you literally can't rank games without those, so I guess they really are the highest ranking.
Yeah.
Nintendo didn't make it, so don't blame us. We're not fanboys here. Right? I feel like it's... I kind of want to put it right above Earthbound. I want to put it above Devil May Cry.
Yeah, like, I'm fine. I'm cool with that. I think that this game can go as high as it wants to go,
It's true. Maybe that's even lowballing it there.
Well, this is mostly... As I said, I didn't really get to play Katamari Damacy, because I only got We Love Katamari. I think that game is slightly better than this one, but it's only better in the sense that it has more stuff to the exact same game, so... I think the theme song is hiding in there. I think it's a remixed version, so it's not as good.
There's a couple remixes. There's like a swing remix, there's like this weird Japanese scat remix, and there's like a dog remix.
Dogs? Oh.
Sorry, that's the other one.
I actually kind of like the idea of it being between Devil May Cry and above Earthbound, because it's kind of quirky and also kind of like a quintessential PS2 game.
The more I think about it, the more I want to say, like, put it outrageously high and put it above Super Mario Bros. 3 and below Super Mario 64. And I'll tell you why. Because you take anybody from Miyamoto on down and say, hey, make the craziest thing you can think of that could be a fun game. And I don't think they'd come up with anything like this. Like, I just don't... Like, this is such a bizarre concept that works so perfectly. You just gotta... This is all I want out of video games. This is what I want games to be. Like, something crazy and surprising and it's not because I think the game is, like, crafted as perfectly as, like, the best of the Mario games or Metal Gear Solid 3 or Doom or anything, but it's just so... I just want to reward this kind of ingenuity and zaniness.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it was, like, crafted so much as it just happened. Like,
right.
it wasn't trying to be anything, and yet it became this huge success.
I guess we've settled you can't really improve upon it.
Yeah,
in a meaningful way. So if games were food, Super Mario 64 would be like whatever the ultimate, like, gourmet food is, like lobsters stuffed with tacos. I don't know. It's a Simpsons thing, sorry. Give me your fast food stuffed with your second best food. No, it'd be like, like a a souffle, you know, like a perfectly made like kind of thing. Whereas like Katamari Damacy is like a grilled cheese sandwich if no one had ever made that before. You know, it's like, oh, well, that's just really good on an elemental level. And why hasn't I thought of this before? That's like, it's just that good. Yeah. And how do you make a grilled cheese sandwich better? You can't. You can just eat it. That's what you do.
One of the things I remember reading in interviews with Keita Takahashi is like he didn't really set out to create like a super innovative game. He basically like said like he wanted to bring like silly fun game, and it is like this is the definition of a silly fun game. Like it's hard to play that game and not immediately have a smile from your face because like it's doing something. You rolled up something weird. Or just like you get bopped away by like something and just it's delightful.
Yeah, even people I think who don't like games would at least like watching this one.
Joe, at the beginning of this recording, I jokingly referred to this as like the last truly innovative game ever. But can anyone honestly name a game like this that didn't set out to be a big success and
Minecraft.
Snowballed?
Yeah, don't set that up, man. You know that was going to happen.
The games that we don't even like that are probably...
I wasn't even thinking of Minecraft.
Minecraft doesn't care if you don't think about it. It made $2 billion and an angry fat man.
Yeah.
Katamari, you can't sell it short by listing one other game.
Yeah, who disagrees with me?
Well, you know that I think that Mario games are a little overrated. A little, not a lot, but, you know, they're at the top of our list, so why not put Katamari up there? What, does it not deserve to go up there? It deserves to go up there, it's a fantastic game.
Cal. Dude, I want to back you up on this, because if you remember, I was saying that I felt that back when we ranked Super Mario Bros. 3, I felt that was a little overrated. I am actually going to 100% agree with Xerxes' placement, just because I don't want the two Mario games to be wedged up there forever. I want to break it up a little diversity, and that I honestly do love Katamari more than Super Mario Bros. 3. My fans are going to roast me for that one, but I'm sticking by it, damn it.
Well, the most important thing is...
Our fans, not fans. Sorry.
The most important thing about Katamari, I think, is simply that if you were like, hey, recommend a game to someone, like, yeah, Katamari, that's a great game. You'll love it. Like, you will. You should.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like this game? I didn't double check because I was so confident that everyone loved this game that I didn't check if there was someone on, I don't know, GameFAQs writing like a 1 out of 10 review.
Oh,
Scram stupid, you can't shoot someone in the face, and I can't play games where you don't murder people.
Damacy sucks. Get him, fellas.
You always find contrarians in every juxtaposition in every painting.
This is a game that I would give to people who kind of hate video games. I'll put it that way. Like, even if you don't like video games, like you might like Katamari Damacy on some level. Like, yeah,
I agree with that. That's I agree with putting it up there and breaking up the Mario Brothers.
Okay, that's 3. So the other 2 people who waited to give their opinion, guess what?
That was actually 4.
I was agreeing.
And he was agreeing, so that's everyone. That is unanimous. Yeah. We have a unanimous positioning.